All right. Good morning. I'm, I'm here with my dog, and I found a book that is like 20. Well, with the shipping and handling, it's more like 30 something dollars. But I found that it is part of the Dead Sea Scrolls and very helpful. But this is the book, and and I bought it like a week or two ago. And I found it very helpful. It's filling in a lot of gaps and making a lot of sense. There's a lot of pieces that have been left off that make a whole lot of sense. Like there's Book of Enoch, there's Jasher, just books that have been left out of the Bible, and like Jubilees, and others. And I don't know who came up with leaving out certain books of the Bible, but I'm getting a lot more value from these books, and today I wanted to come and talk about one in particular. It's called The Shepherd of Hermas, and I wanted to read about the Commandment 8 and just some things that I've underlined because I have struggled lately with trying to figure out. I'm not gonna be able to. Well, I don't know. Well, I'm trying to figure out how to hold the camera and read at the same time, but that may work. But anyway, I found this very interesting, and I'm trying to figure out how to bless more people. And this commandment, and there's a lot of others. I find this. If I think the shepherd it's Shepherd of Hermas, and it's about the commandments, and it gives a lot more in-depth stuff about the commandments. And mine was on how to basically live your life. So I told you that the creatures of God are double, for restraint is also double. And he basically asked about the Lord, these commandments, and trying to live a right life and exercising the right way. And it says, restrain yourself in regard to evil, and do not do it, but exercise no restraint in regard to doing good, but do it. For if you exercise restraint in the doing of good, you will commit a great sin, which I find very interesting. But if you exercise restraint so as not to do that which is evil, you are practicing great righteousness. Restrain yourself, therefore, from all iniquity, and do that which is good. What, Lord, I say, that are evil deeds, from which we must restrain ourselves. Here, he says, from adultery and fornication, from unlawful reveling, from wicked luxury, from indulgence in many kinds of food. I think this has to do with the temple food and food sacrificed to idols. And the Bible originally did point out things that you weren't supposed to eat. And in my opinion, in the New Testament, it kind of goes back and forth. Because it says, don't, it's not what goes in your body, but what goes out of your body. But there are different instances where, like Peter, I think in a vision saw food coming down, like the four corners of a blanket coming down and resting, and he saw all kinds of unclean animals, and God basically said, eat them. And this was in response to dealing with the Gentiles, because he got up and he was having very hard time trying to, because he thought the original message was to go after the Jews, and that the message was just meant for the Jews, and God was saying, no, you need to also preach to the Gentiles. So sorry, getting off base, but so that is in regards to food. And it says the extravagance of riches, and from boastfulness and haughtiness, insolence, and lies, and backbiting, and hypocrisy, from the remembrance of wrong, and from all slander. These are the deeds that are most wicked in life of men. From all these deeds, therefore, the servant of God must restrain himself. For he who does not restrain himself from these cannot live to God. Listen then to the deeds that accompany these. Are there, Lord, I said, any evil deeds? And there are, and many of them too, from which the servant of God must restrain himself: theft, lying, robbery, false witness, overreaching, wicked lust, dissent, vainglory, boastfulness, and all other vices like these. Do you think that these are really wicked, exceedingly wicked in the servants of God? From all of these, the servant of God must restrain himself. Restraint yourself then will be enrolled among those who restrain themselves in regard to these matters. Then the men or things must restrain yourself. But then he says, do not restrain yourself in regard to which is good, but do it. And then he asks, what are the good things that we ought to do? And he says, to the good things which you ought to do, and in regard which there is no self-restraint requisite. First of all, there is faith, then fear of the Lord, love, concord, words of righteousness, truth, patience, and then those things, than these, nothing is better in life of men. If anyone attends to these and does not restrain himself from them, he is blessed in his life. Then there are the following attendant on these: helping widows, looking after orphans and the needy, rescuing the servants of God from necessities, the being hospitable. For in hospitality, doing good finds a field, never opposing anyone. The being quiet, having fewer needs than other men, reverencing the aged, practicing righteousness, watching the brotherhood, bearing insolence, being long-suffering, encouraging those who are sick in soul, not casting those who have fallen into sin from the faith, but turning them back and restoring them to peace of mind, admonishing sinners, not oppressing debtors and the needy. And if there are any other actions like these, do these seem good to you? He says, for what, Lord, I say, is better than these. Walk them then in them, he says, and do not restrain yourself from them, and you will live to God. Therefore keep this commandment: if you do good and do not restrain yourself from it, you will live to God. All who act thus will live to God. And again, if you refuse to do evil, restrain yourself from it, you will live to God, and will live in God and keep the commandments and walk in them. So basically, that is how to live. It's basically saying help those that need help, being patient and long-suffering, keep quiet, do that which is good. And also, I mean, I would go on to say, like, don't seek like accolades, I would guess, is how I would word it. And basically, God wants us to have us be above reproach, and have us be a humble, simple lifestyle where we reflect God and not reflect man. But thank you for joining me. Hopefully you learned something. But this is a cool little book, and it does give you more information on the commandments. And you may have to look up a word or two, like I have this morning. And words back then kind of had a different meaning than they do today. Because I don't know when the Shepherd of Hermas was done. But it's a good little book, and I'm still reading. But I wanted to share this commandment with you because I needed it as well. Thank you for joining me. Have a great day, and God bless you all. I'm going to try to keep doing more of these and share more of what I learned along the way. Take care. God bless.